have a time, so we can talk about the two-case commit that can support the concurrency control. So unfortunately, we cannot cover all the topics or components of the DBMS. So I think that this semester we can finalize our lecture with discussing the concurrency control. So then, meanwhile, we have a due date of the project B, and the final exam is the next week, Tuesday. It's May 2nd, right?
Yes.
May 2nd, the 8 to the 10 a.m. It's a paper-based. You may have enough time to do the exam, and also then after we finalize all the grade of the project and everything, your final grade will be posted probably this time, since we have the exam on Tuesday, so maybe end of the next week you will get the final grade. Okay. Then I'm going to allocate my office hour to check your final exam. Only the final exam. I'm not going to accept any complaint or the issue regarding to the grade of your quiz or the homework or the project. You need to contact before that. After the final exam, I will only take care of the final exam. Then it will be finalized, the course. Any question regarding to the plan for the rest of the semester? It's a paper-based, and its format is the same as the last midterm exam. Roughly half of them will be multiple choice. I think the 45% this time, the multiple choices, and the others are open-ended questions. So for the multiple choices, I'm thinking the half of them from the quiz that you have taken so far. And coverage is after the midterm exam. No matter what subject we discuss after the midterm exam, it will be coverage of the final exam. So it's not comprehensive exam, so you don't have to study it again. If you want, you can do that, but there may be no question from the first half of the semester. Okay. Then last class, during the quiz, I have a mistake. So I'd like to correct this question. So obviously B determines C. That's the functional dependency, right? So I confused this. This is based on the value of the data. So whether B, the left-hand side determines the C, the right-hand side. So which means, so for example, the B determines C is the obvious, right? If we know the B, then we can determine the C. However, for example, in this case, A determines B. So even though we know the A, we cannot determine B, right? Because A1 goes to B1 and B2, right? It cannot be functional dependency. However, for example, C determines B. If we know the C, for example, C2, B2, that definitely this is the functional dependency. Then A determines B. So if we know the value of A, then we can decide the B. So A1 is a B1. Okay? A1, in this case, is a B2. So it determines the value. Okay? So that is a functional dependency. Do you understand the difference? So in this case, the A, if we know the A, whether we can determine the B1 or whether we can determine the value of B. Okay, so A1 determine B1, A1 determine B2. However, the vice versa, so B1, A, if we know the value A, so you cannot determine because it's a B1 and B2. However, A plus B, for example, A plus B, the A1, B1 determine D1, D2, D3, so in this case the D3, A2, B2 determine D3, A3, B3 determine D3. Okay, if we know the left-hand side, whether we can decide the value of the right-hand side. So it's still this is the functional dependency. What about the A determine B? We cannot. What about the A plus B determine C? So if we know the value A1, B1, then C1. A1, B2, C2. A2, B2, C2. A3, B3, C4. We can determine the value. So The answer is the A determine B cannot be the functional dependency. Whether we can find the value. So in case of the Venn diagram, you probably learned this kind of thing. This can be functional dependency. However, this cannot be functional dependency because it can split into two. Okay, so this is the functional dependency. So answer is so only this. So you may not get the extra point that I mentioned in the last quiz. Those who answered, I think the answer one, or I do not remember correctly. But anyway, this is the correct answer. Then, before we start today's lesson, why don't we have the quiz? I think that this is the last quiz this semester. It's for the indexing.